Once upon a time, in the heart of ancient Rome, where the morning sun kissed the cobblestone streets and the air carried the mingled scents of fresh bread, roasted olives, and blooming flowers, there lived a humble citizen named Marcus. His life was simple, yet rich, woven with small joys and quiet moments that gave him both peace and purpose. Though he was not a senator, a soldier, or a merchant of great wealth, Marcus had something just as valuable, a sense of belonging and contentment in the rhythms of everyday life. As dawn broke over the rooftops, Marcus awoke to the gentle chirping of sparrows perched just outside his wooden shutters. A soft glow filtered through the fabric curtains, painting the modest room in shades of honey and gold. He stretched, feeling the release of his muscles, and took in a deep breath of cool morning air. For him, each new sunrise was a gift, a reminder of balance, a moment of clarity before the busy hum of the city. He rose from his bed, washed his face in a clay basin filled with cool water, and dressed in his simple linen tunic. Pulling on his sandals, he smiled faintly at the sound of children's laughter echoing faintly from down the street. Rome was alive, even at this early hour. Marcus stepped into the narrow street, nodding warmly to his neighbors as they exchanged greetings. The city was already stirring. The baker setting out baskets of steaming bread, women carrying amphorae of water, and vendors preparing their stalls with bundles of herbs, cheeses, and fragrant oils. The sound of conversation filled the air, mixed with the distant notes of a flute player entertaining passers-by. By the time Marcus reached the bustling market square, the heart of the city was alive with motion. The voices of merchants rose above the crowd. Fresh figs, ripe olives, pomegranates sweet as honey, fine cloth from the east, spices from faraway lands. It was a feast for the senses, bright colors, tantalizing scents, and the rhythmic energy of a city in motion. At one corner of the square, Marcus spotted his old friend Lucius, who was arranging baskets of glistening fruit. His stall was a small oasis of color, deep red pomegranates, golden figs, and bunches of grapes heavy with sweetness. "Marcus," Lucius called cheerfully, "try this fig, freshly picked this morning." Marcus accepted, biting into the fruit, its juices sweet and warm under the sun. The two friends shared a laugh, speaking of the week's happenings, their voices weaving into the larger tapestry of the market. "Have you heard?" Lucius asked with bright eyes. "There will be a festival next week. Music, games, feasts in the forum. It will be grand." The thought made Marcus's heart light. The festival would be a chance to gather, to see the city in all its vibrancy, and to celebrate the simple joys of life with family and friends. After spending much of the morning enjoying the chatter and buying produce, Marcus finally left the square with his arms full. Bread, herbs, vegetables, and a little jar of honey for his children. Back at his modest home, Marcus was greeted by the warm aroma of rosemary and thyme as his wife Julia prepared lunch. His children, Anna and Titus, came rushing to greet him, their laughter filling the small space with joy. They set the table together, arranging bread, fruit, and vegetables with the care of a little ritual. As they sat together, eating and talking, Marcus felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. They spoke of their morning, their dreams, and little joys, Titus proudly announcing that he had climbed the tallest fig tree near their home, Anna speaking of stories she wanted to hear before bed. These small moments were the true wealth of his life. After lunch, they gathered in the living room, where the flickering flame of an oil lamp cast a golden glow. They played simple games, told stories, and laughed freely. The air seemed filled with peace and gentle happiness, as if time had slowed just to give them space to be together. Back at his modest home, Marcus was greeted by the warm aroma of rosemary and thyme as his wife Julia prepared lunch. His children, Anna and Titus, came rushing to greet him, their laughter filling the small space with joy. They set the table together, arranging bread, fruit, and vegetables with the care of a little ritual. As they sat together, eating and talking, Marcus felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. They spoke of their morning, their dreams, and little joys, Titus proudly announcing that he had climbed the tallest fig tree near their home, Anna speaking of stories she wanted to hear before bed. These small moments were the true wealth of his life. After lunch, they gathered in the living room, where the flickering flame of an oil lamp cast a golden glow. They played simple games, told stories, and laughed freely. The air seemed filled with peace and gentle happiness, as if time had slowed just to give them space to be together. Guided by the night, Marcus followed through winding alleyways and past towering temples bathed in moonlight. The city grew quieter as they approached the outskirts, where crumbling stone arches and half-forgotten shrines marked the entrance to the ancient ruins. Shadows flickered across the walls, making the air heavy with both mystery and wonder. Inside, the ruins were a labyrinth of dark corridors and echoing chambers. Their footsteps rang against stone, the silence broken only by the distant drip of water. As they ventured deeper, Marcus's heart pounded, but he pressed on, fueled by a strange courage he hadn't known he possessed. They encountered obstacles, blocked passages, riddles carved into stone tablets, even sudden drops where they had to leap carefully across. The night's calm presence guided Marcus, while Marcus's determination kept them moving forward. Together, they formed a quiet bond of trust, forged in the shadows. Finally, after what felt like hours, they discovered it. A golden chalice resting upon a pedestal, its surface glimmering faintly even in the darkness. Marcus's breath caught. To think, an ordinary citizen standing in the heart of a legend. As they emerged from the ruins, the night air felt like a blessing. The townsfolk, who had waited anxiously in the square, erupted into cheers at the sight of the knight and Marcus returning with the chalice. The knight raised it high, his voice steady. Rome is safe once more. The crowd roared with joy. For a brief moment, Marcus stood at the center of it all, not a humble citizen, but a hero. His chest swelled with pride, his eyes shining with the reflection of torchlight and starlight. When Marcus returned home, Julia and the children were waiting anxiously. As he recounted the night's events, their eyes grew wide with amazement. Anna clapped her hands with delight. Titus hung on every word, and Julia smiled with quiet pride. Their laughter filled the home, washing away the last remnants of fear and adrenaline. Later, as the children drifted off to sleep, Marcus sat by the flickering oil lamp and reflected. His day had been a blend of ordinary peace and extraordinary adventure. The laughter at the market, the warmth of his family, and the thrill of the ruins, all of it wove together into something whole and beautiful. Life, he realized, was a delicate dance between the routine and the unexpected. Each day carried its own magic, waiting to be discovered.